She's obsessed with her own ego and playing the victim.
You've hijacked this name from Queen Elizabeth. The least you can do is respect this woman, respect her institution, respect her name.
Listen, Megyn Kelly didn't come to play. She didn't whisper, she didn't tiptoe around it. She stared dead into that camera and asked the one question no one in mainstream dared to touch. Is Meghan Markle really 44 or is she actually over 50? Boom. That one explosive line ripped open a rumor that has been simmering in the shadows for years. And the moment it aired, the internet went crazy. Because this wasn't some throwaway gossip headline, it was about documents, timelines, and photos that don't match the official royal narrative. Once you start lining those receipts side by side, the shiny, polished image Meghan Markle has presented suddenly doesn't look so bulletproof anymore. It all starts with a single photo. Northwestern University, early 2000s. Megyn smiling in a salsa club group shot surrounded by her classmates. At first glance, harmless, right? Just another college memory. But fast forward to now, and here's the kicker. Those same classmates, they're openly in their early 50s. We're talking 52, 53, even 54. Yet Megyn's official biography swears she's 44. Do the math. If her timeline is to be believed, Megyn was supposedly a wide-eyed freshman surrounded by people nearly a decade older. Rare? Maybe? Possible? Technically? But believable? That's where things start to unravel.
Needs us to love her, so she will do whatever it takes, and she doesn't know how to make us love.
Insert clip from 0119 to 0124 now. Because the math? Oh, it's messy. Alumni records keep tying Megyn back to the same names, the same circles. When those classmates meet now at reunions, the age gap is glaring. Megyn, the Duchess of Sussex, is listed as a whole generation younger, but the paper trail keeps her locked in their orbit. Maybe coincidence, but when it happens again and again, coincidence starts looking a lot like a pattern. And this is where it gets juicier. Megyn's official birth date, August 4th, 1981. It's carved into royal archives, repeated endlessly in glossy magazines, written like gospel. But whispers? Oh, they've been around for decades. Some say 1977, others push it to 1975. If that's true, Megyn isn't 44, she's 48, maybe even 50. That's not just a little age shaving. That's a whole 4 to 6 years erased from her story, and those missing years, they're not just numbers, they represent real experiences, relationships, and choices that never made it into the polished version of Meghan Markle's life. And when you're part of the royal machine, every little inconsistency has the power to explode into scandal, which brings us straight to the palace, because if you thought official royal documents couldn't be touched, Megyn's history already proved otherwise.
If she had any respect for the institution she married into, she'd stop using it like a content farm.
Insert clip from 0245 to 0251. Flashback to May 2019. Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor's birth certificate is filed in the UK. At first, it's standard. Rachel Megyn, Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. Clean, official, permanent. Or so everyone thought. Just weeks later, poof, it's changed. Megyn's given names, Rachel and Megyn, wiped off completely. What was left? Just Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. The palace brushed it off, called it housekeeping, said it was simply to match other royal mothers' documents. But insiders, they called it bizarre. Why change it after the fact? Why not Kate? Why not Diana? That tiny tweak sent a massive message. Even royal paperwork, stuff people believed was sacred, could be rewritten without explanation. For Megyn's critics, that edit was Exhibit A. If a royal birth certificate could be quietly altered, then what about earlier records? High school rosters, alumni directories, even a birth year? Suddenly nothing seemed untouchable. And it gets even weirder. Think about how most celebrities have a flood of old photos. Prom night candids, awkward graduation shots, blurry yearbooks. Megyn's archive feels oddly curated, polished, like her high school senior headshot, perfectly ready for a magazine. Group shots that only resurface at carefully chosen times, like in royal biographies or puff piece interviews. Fans online started clocking it. Every time her background came under scrutiny, voila, a conveniently timed old photo would pop up. It began to feel less like nostalgia and more like PR strategy. Naturally, the internet detectives went into overdrive. Side-by-sides exploded on Reddit. TikTok creators stitched Megyn Kelly's fiery question over yearbook scans, zooming in, circling dates, replaying receipts. What started as whispers in gossip blogs went mainstream. Big outlets picked it up, spinning it with slightly different headlines. Insiders question Megyn's birth year. Old photos revive age debate. Royal records spark confusion. Each repeat only made the story harder to dismiss. And by the time Samantha Markle, Megyn's estranged sister, revived her defamation case in early 2025, Megyn's age wasn't just a rumor. It was a trending, viral obsession. Supporters came out swinging, calling the age debate cruel nitpicking. They said Hollywood has always shaved years to land roles. Nothing new, nothing scandalous. But critics? They saw it as another calculated example of Meghan's narrative control. The same kind of spin they believe pushed her and Harry out of the royal family. And the rest of us? Casual onlookers scrolling through our feeds, staring at reunion listings, watching TikTok timelines, quietly asking ourselves, could all these contradictions really just be coincidence? The whispers about Meghan Markle's real age all circle back to one stubborn number, 1977. It pops up in alumni chatter, in dusty event programs, even in memories from people who swear they knew her back before she was famous. Others go further, 1976, even 1975. If any of that is true, Meghan isn't 44. She's 48, 49, maybe even the big 5-0. Now, shaving off a couple years might sound trivial. Hollywood has been doing it forever. From Marilyn Monroe to Sandra Bullock, stars have always blurred the math to keep themselves in the right bracket. But Meghan's case? Oh, it hits differently. Because she didn't just stay an actress, she became a duchess. And when you step into royalty, those paper trails are supposed to be airtight. Every certificate, every official record, permanent, non-negotiable. And yet, here we are. Think about the missing years. If Meghan's true birth date is 1977, that shifts everything. Her teenage years, suddenly in the mid-90s, not the early 2000s. That changes her Northwestern timeline, her early acting gigs, even her first marriage. We're talking about a total rewrite of where she was, who she was with, and what she was doing. 4 years may not seem like much, but in Meghan's carefully polished story, it's a canyon. By this point, it's not even about birthdays, it's about credibility. And once credibility cracks, good luck patching it up. And that's exactly why, by early 2025, Meghan wasn't just fighting Samantha Markle in court. She was fighting the ghosts of every old rumor that had ever clung to her name. Samantha's revived defamation lawsuit didn't just frame Meghan as the estranged sister spinning lies. It collided with the age scandal in real time. Articles covering the case didn't stick to the family feud. They kept slipping in lines about the age debate. Suddenly, Meghan's entire defense wasn't just about truth, it was about her truth versus the timeline truth. And that's the irony, isn't it? Meghan has always branded herself as someone who stands in her truth. But the more she leaned on those words, the louder critics screamed about the missing years. 4 years blurred here, 6 years missing there. It became a math problem no PR team could solve. The press? Oh, they feasted. Tabloids looped Meghan's famous soundbites about authenticity, then spliced them with Megyn Kelly's viral question. Mainstream outlets ran timeline breakdowns, mapping her Northwestern years against her older classmates. Even late-night comedians couldn't resist. One joked, "We've discovered the eighth wonder of the world, Meghan Markle's birth certificate." It changes every time you look at it, and the effect on her brand was instant. Public figures live and die by control of image, of narrative, of story. Meghan had mastered that art, until now. Because once a single crack shows, every resurfaced photo, every alumni record, every rumor becomes another fracture. Sources told the Daily Mail that her team was frustrated but paralyzed. They didn't know whether to address it head-on or pray it fizzled out. But silence has a way of making scandals grow louder. And in that silence, the narrative spun wildly out of control. Online, the divide was sharp. Supporters launched hashtags like #MeghanTruth, arguing this was just another sexist pile-on punishing a woman for daring to age. They pointed out Hollywood's long history of tearing down women for something men get away with scot-free, but critics clapped back with hashtags like Markle Math, mocking the arithmetic of her timeline, complete with memes showing Meghan in side-by-side comparisons with classmates a decade older. For every fan saying the debate was petty, another was shouting that it symbolized everything wrong with her story. If even Meghan's age couldn't be nailed down, how could anything she said be trusted? And that's where the cultural clash cut deepest. In Hollywood, age blurring is an open secret. But in the royal world, every date, every record is treated like history itself. Diana's birth certificate is preserved in archives. Kate's records are clear. The monarchy thrives on permanence. Meghan's alleged age gap made her an outlier. The Duchess, whose bio read more like a studio script than a royal record. And as the trial dates loomed closer, the scandal wasn't just Meghan's. It was a reflection on the crown itself. If a duchess's details could be bent, what did that say about the institution propping her up? By the time Meghan Markle stepped into 2025, the age drama wasn't just a little internet whisper anymore. It had ballooned into a cultural test, a litmus strip for who believed her story and who didn't. Was Meghan the victim of cruel, obsessive nitpicking? Or was she the master of a carefully engineered narrative, built on details too shaky to trust? The camps were split down the middle, but there was one thing everyone agreed on. This scandal wasn't going away. Industry insiders even admitted the shadow of the age controversy was now stalking her career just as much as the royal fallout. A former studio exec spilled to Variety. In Hollywood, shaving a few years is forgivable, but in royalty? Records are legacy. Once doubt creeps in, it corrodes. And the corrosion is already showing. And oh, the ripple effects. Projects with Netflix that were once sold on authenticity suddenly faced quiet side-eye. Public appearances, instead of silencing the rumors, just gave Twitter new threads dissecting how timeless Megyn looked, a compliment that twisted into an accusation. For her defenders, this was cruel proof of how women are punished in ways men never will be. They pointed to Jennifer Lopez, Halle Berry, both constantly nitpicked over age, yet still thriving. But Megyn's critics were relentless. This isn't about looks. This is about truth. If her age isn't real, what else isn't? And that question spread like wildfire. Supporters and skeptics clashed online, their arguments fueling the exact visibility Megyn might have hoped would fade. The monarchy didn't escape unscathed either, because if Archie's birth certificate could be amended so casually, what else could bend under pressure? Even BBC commentators chimed in, calling the whole mess a crack in the facade. If palace documents weren't unshakable, then the monarchy itself looked less like a sacred institution and more like a machine that rewrote reality when it felt convenient. And that's what makes this scandal so damning. Meghan Markle, a woman who built her brand on control, was now trapped in a narrative she couldn't edit. Every resurfaced snapshot, every alumni listing, every corrected record just kept the fire burning. Maybe she really is 44, exactly as the biography claims. Maybe she's older. But here's the brutal truth. The perception now matters more than the fact. Once a story hardens into myth, it sticks. Forever. And Megyn can't outrun it, because the cruel irony, the more polished and managed her life looks, the more people dig for the cracks. Every edit becomes suspect, every contradiction becomes evidence, every mystery just deepens the obsession. And at the heart of it all is that one question Megyn Kelly asked out loud. Is Meghan Markle really 44, or is she over 50? That single sentence unleashed a tidal wave, because this was never just about a number. It was about how a life becomes a brand, and how even the tiniest inconsistencies can push that brand to the brink of collapse. So here we are. Meghan Markle's age scandal isn't just gossip anymore. It's a full-blown test of trust. If one contradiction can shake confidence in the palace, then what happens when the next one surfaces? And let's be real, it will. And when it does, oh, you already know, we'll be right here, breaking it down piece by piece, because Meghan's past isn't done rewriting itself, not even close.